Good afternoon, Dr. Louw. We are so excited for the launch of your book, Shaped by the Storm, today. And while I am welcoming you, let me just show a copy. I think it's absolutely stunning. Please go ahead and tell us some more about your book.
It is a great honor to talk about the book. Shaped by the Storm is a profound metaphor for resilience, growth, and beauty that emerges from adversity. Embracing the metaphor was key to unlock the insights that I try to express in this book to help people to see that there's strength in themselves. I used the little bonsai tree as a symbol of resilience. Some of these trees are thousands of years old. I don't think we're going to become thousands of years old because life is life and we've got a limited lifespan. I took it from the perspective of medical trauma. Now, medical trauma is a very complex concept in the sense of it can be something that happens to me, my experience of having to go to the doctor, having to hear very bad news. But medical trauma also hits families, friends, and colleagues. When I started to do the research for the book, there were many people that told me, my child my child had cancer. My child passed away because of cancer. My child has got a personality um, that's different from other children's personality. And I don't want to go into the labels, but there is something like bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. There are many, many autoimmune diseases that cripple families to a large extent. But we can navigate life. So from medical trauma, I went into the story of the bonsai, the beautiful fact that people want to bring these little trees into their homes to bring nature closer to them. There's beautiful pictures of people taking the little bonsais in their high-rising flats in Japan and in China and putting it on the windowsills of the corridors. In other words, outside the living spaces, and they share the beauty of that. So for me, I wrote this book to help people to find meaning in imperfection. If you had a limb amputated, that limb is not coming back, and you might see yourself as differently. And many of the medical trauma that people go through leave physical scars, but there are also emotional scars. If you look at some of the bonsai trees, as I explained in my book, there are trees that they purposefully scar to signify the hardship of life, to, to signify what happens in nature. The little cascade kind of bonsai is a symbol of this little tree that's on the edge of a cliff. It has the wish to survive. The bonsai tree can be shaped and pruned, and then the anchors are really important. Strong anchors allow the bonsai to thrive in drought, wind, and in other storms. I don't think medical trauma comes in a single storm. It might be a continuous storm. There's a place in the Cape Province that's called Dwarskersbos. I don't know the scientific name offhand, but all the trees are like skew
Wonderful.
in the direction of the wind. And sometimes medical trauma feels like it weakens you, but you have got unseen strength. The unseen strengths that you have are harnessed in the gardener's hands. And I believe that, you know, if you go through medical trauma, often you ask, why did this happen to me? Why? And before Jesus left the earth, he told his disciples, I leave you the Holy Spirit as a comforter. But you know, we are allowed to ask why. Because again, he is our example. On the cross, he said, my God, why did you forsake me? It's a human emotion. And in this book, it was very important for me to ask the question, how did the storm shape you? How did this storm bring your strengths to the surface? How can you celebrate your scars? Because every scar is a testament that you survived. Human emotions, I think, is very important in dealing with trauma because you were created with a whole spectrum of emotions. There's no good or bad emotions. Every emotion has a purpose. In Shaped Like a Storm, the concept of rooting emphasizes an understanding of your foundation, your identity, your value, and your sources of strength. You are not a one-dimensional person. And I try to emphasize that in the understanding of your foundation, your faith, your spirituality, your relationships, and even your past experiences. I'm a great supporter of emphasizing personal values. The moment you say, this is important in my life, it's the non-negotiables. When you're sick, a lot of people can grab to anything just to help them to become better. They will go to spiritual leaders, they will go for medicine that we don't always understand. But the hunger is to nurture their roots. Nurture their roots so that they can reconnect with their faith, that they can cultivate good relationships. Stop the nonsense. Stop the nonsense relationships that might be breaking you down more than it's building you up. I also, in the book, emphasize that a daily routine is really important to help you to ground yourself. Root bound. We think that the little bonsai's roots can't grow. They actually grow because if they don't grow, you're going to see it at the top. At the top, we see the need for pruning. The purpose of pruning is a very deliberate act. If a bonsai master does not prune a tree, that tree will lose its shape, it will lose its ability to grow in that pot. But the bonsai master, the gardener, is very careful about how to prune. Often they would contemplate and look at that tree for hours and turn it before they pick up the scissors. Sometimes we need to be honest and we need to think about what we need to prune. We need to get rid of unhealthy thought patterns, emotional burdens, toxic relationships, and outdated expectations. Many of the medical biological um, diagnosis that people receive is not going to change in this lifetime, but it does not mean that they cannot embrace today, that they cannot embrace hope for the future. Your attitude, for instance, is the most important thing in pain management. The other day, I went to a meeting and there was a lady that had some ailment, but she cursed life. She didn't want to live anymore. She said she can't wait to die. And my heart went out to her because she needs a little bit of love. and a lot of comfort. There's no use to tell her, but you need to change your attitude. That's not so easy. But comfort and healing of your heart goes a long way. We need to adapt. That's a fact. There's no way that we can get through that. And pruning is not punishment. Pruning helps you to shape a more impressive, a more beautiful you because you become comfortable in your own skin. That brings me to the section on reshaping and renewing. You know, these little bonsai trees that are used as a metaphor go through all the seasons in the little pots that we see in nature. The maples, for instance, have a show of the most beautiful autumn colors. Yes, they're in a little pot, they're not in the wind and the rain, and there's somebody looking after them. But the art there for me is in the reshaping, is refocusing. Change your focus. What is meaningful in your life? Embracing new strengths. Yes, life changes us. But if we don't change, we're going to break. We need to create new patterns of living, new daily routines. And I absolutely value creative expression. As an artist, if life is hard and I struggle to put stuff in words, I would draw. You teased me and said I drew 1,000 trees. I don't know if I drew 1,000 trees. I lost count, but I shared some of the trees in the book. And, you know, the most precious picture for me in the book is that little branch with the cherry blossoms. Blossoms is this thing of we can bear fruit. We can trust the master gardener's design. And we were designed to thrive. We were designed, even when life knocks us, we were designed to thrive. That's a little bit more about the book. And my thought is that, you know, we are in a war, a spiritual war, an emotional war. And that war in itself leaves us with scars. I hope the people will enjoy this book in little bites. Read it day by day. Every book, every chapter, there's 33 chapters, has got a little bonsai tree at the top to show you the beautiful trees and shapes. No, it's not all the styles. It's just a few out of the thousands of pictures that I drew. But I thought it is very special to share that. There's quotes that you can share. There's food for thought. In every section, I also touched on the spirituality. I'm very grateful for Wynand Jr. for the poems. And the great thing for me is that we're different people, but we can express ourselves in our unique ways. Later in the video, you're going to get an invitation to join my author's blog. Dr. Barbara's Bulletin has got a free guide for this book and a free chapter that you can share with your friends. I believe Leonie is going to read that chapter for us, or a part of that chapter later. The chapters are short, so that if you become tired, you can stop and you can reflect and you can go back. I'm very honored to have written this book and to share it with you today. It's not supposed to be a tear jerker. It is an encouragement for whoever is sitting in a hard place, whether it's yourself or a loved one. And I trust that we will be able to share a journey with each other by keeping contact through the bulletin. You're welcome to contact me on social media. I will respond. If you share your thoughts about the book, I answer my emails. I personally answer every one of them. If it takes a little bit longer than you would like, please be patient with me. Thank you for giving me the platform to share about my book.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara, and I look forward to the book launch.
So Carol, from your picture behind you, doing bonsai?
Ja, ek doen en dit is hoe ek Barbara ontmoet het. Terwyl ons wag, kan ek net gou-gou sê my tesis, my doktorale skripsie het gegaan oor die helende faktor van bonsai. So ja, 2013 het ek dit gedoen en ek is by die Noordwes Universiteit se kampus op Mafeking en ek het 'n geregistreerde projek waar ek uitreikwerk doen met bonsai. So ja, ek is bonsai.
So thank you very much, everybody, for attending the launch. There was quite a number of people that registered, and but we appreciate the time that you are spending here with us. During the process, I will post some information in the chats from where you can get the books and how you can get the books, and if you want electronic books, and so forth. And also, if you have not subscribed to Dr. Barbara's bulletin, that you can do that, which will also then provide you with a free chapter from the book. So I want to then start by asking Dr. Barbara to just do the honors. She said she wants to thank the people that was involved. Thank you, Dr. Barbara.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, everybody. I want to thank my Heavenly Father in the first place. Some of you, most of you, I know from my studies. Earlier this morning, I did a radio interview, and the interviewer asked me, now, what's actually wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with me, but I am on my own healing journey. And for that reason, I want to start by thanking my Heavenly Father, thanking him for healing me so that I could complete my studies with a master's and the 3 PhDs. That was something that 16 years ago we did not expect. And the last 2.5 years it was hard. Wynand, senior. I'll speak to Wynand Junior separately. Okay. Thank you for being my inside out partner in this journey. Every waiting room with me, every day that I got up and just had to pick up my head from the pillow and get up. Thank you. Thank you that you're the most patient person I know. Leonie and Wynand Jr. Yeah, guys, thank you so much. There was a time when you stood in the back door when I didn't even know you were coming to just be part of my healing process. Wynand, Junior, thank you for the poems. I asked him to share that with us in the book because it is so special that every one of us have our own journeys. Leonie, thank you for being there every step of the way, from the inception of the idea to where we are today. Wynand, please thank Sergio. He's a star. I really appreciate him. I don't see Letty here, but Letty is my friend through thick and thin. For the past 2.5 years, Letty sent me a message every morning and every evening. She's there. She's just there. And she's not a kind of person that faffs around you. She's one of the people that will say, okay, so get up now. Let's go on. In the fifth place, I want to thank the bonsai community of Pretoria, bonsai addicts and Pretoria Bonsai Kai. The masters there shared their knowledge and their wisdom freely. They created a community and they just welcomed Wynand and myself with open arms. I really appreciate that. And then I want to thank Liam, the author of Growing South African Bonsai Trees, for writing the wonderful foreword. And that was not quite where our relationship started. Round about a year ago, he wrote in the front of my book that I bought from him that I must keep on inspiring. And that was like prophetic words. And these are the most important people that I want to thank. But Leonie said I must remember to thank Snow. Now, Snow is a not so white chow that every time I put my foot out of the door, decided to lick me. You know, that licking, healing touch that you only get from your pet. And on the very bad days, when I sat on the little step outside my office, she would sit next to me as though she knew exactly what was going on. So, we've got Tanya also joining us. I'm so honored to have all of you here today. So thank you very much. Hank, I am so glad to see you. There were times when I had contact with you that I just knew we need a miracle for you. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara, and welcome to Tanya as well. Ask Leonie now to Leonie asked Leonie to highlight for us and read from the chapter that was provided. Thank you, Leonie.
Thank you, Wynand. Thank you, Dr. Barbara, for writing the book so that I can work on a different platform than usual. It's so nice to see everybody's faces and to see the people that Dr. Barbara has been mentioning as part of her inspiration and her journey as well. So when I first read the book, let me show you the book first, because I've got my copy. I've had it for a week and a half. I like my copy so much. Isn't it pretty? So when I first read the book, I found myself stopping often, not because I couldn't keep going and because I struggled with reading, but because I needed to take in what I've just read. The book gives voice to pain, yes, but it also speaks to hope and resilience and understanding and the quiet work that goes into healing. So I'm going to read a part of chapter 10, and I hope I do it justice because it's so beautifully written. Life does not remain still. It shifts, evolves, and sometimes it changes so suddenly that it leaves us gasping for air. Medical trauma, loss, and unexpected hardship bring a force of change that feels insurmountable. Yet, just as a tree bends in the wind but does not break, we too can endure even the fiercest of storms. This resilience is not about resisting the winds of change, but about learning to move with them, to bend without breaking, to adjust without losing the core of who we are. Wisdom of flexibility. In nature, the trees that survive the most violent storms are not the rigid ones, but those that know how to move with the wind. A bonsai, carefully shaped by its gardener, teaches this same lesson. Each branch is guided, each bend intentional, shaping the tree into something both strong and beautiful. If a tree resists, if it refuses to yield, it risks snapping under pressure. The same principle applies to life. Rigidity in the face of adversity leads to suffering, but flexibility, learning to adjust, to adapt, to shift while holding onto the essential parts of oneself, fosters resilience. Resilience does not mean denying the pain of change. It does not mean pretending that we are unbothered by the storms that rage around us. Rather, it means understanding that we can survive them and that even when life feels overwhelming, we are capable of moving through it and finding new ways to grow. There will come moments when the weight of change feels too heavy to bear, when it seems that one more burden will be the thing that finally shatters us. In those moments, we have a choice. Do we harden, resisting the change with everything in us? Or do we allow ourselves to bend, shift our stance to embrace a new way of being? Bending does not mean giving up. It does not mean surrendering to despair. It means adjusting our expectations and allowing ourselves the grace to experience difficulty without believing that difficulty must break us. It means acknowledging that life may no longer look the way it once did, but that does not mean it cannot still hold beauty, meaning, and growth. At the end of each of the chapters, Dr. Barbara wrote short thoughts that I think are truly valuable. Even if you are so tired and so exhausted from everything that's going on, you can read the 2 sentences that she adds there as inspiration. So the bonsai wisdom for the chapter in front of me is, just as a bonsai tree is shaped by the hands of its caretaker, our lives are shaped by the love and support of those around us. Surround yourself with positive influences and watch your spirit flourish. So to read the book, I must say, don't sit and read everything at once. It's a lot. It provides space for thinking and space for feeling. So as the book allows for space, I think it's also important that we allow ourselves the space to reflect and to think and to return to the thoughts that held more weight for us in the specific situation where we are at in our lives. And I think it also is a fantastic book to share. Don't just read it alone and keep it for yourself under your little blanket, but to share with somebody else, to share the experience and the healing with somebody else as well. And after you've read a tough section, and some of them were tough for me as well, take a walk, pray, go and do something kind for yourself while you process all of the wisdom that is contained in this book. Thank you, Wynand.
Thank you very much, Leonie. Yes, as you were talking and reading, and as I was working through that book, I had to have my handkerchief close by, because it captures the journey over a period of time, journey of hope, journey of healing, journey of challenges, journey of ups and downs. And I know that Wynand Jr., his mother included some of his poems that he has written a few moons ago. Not exactly sure how long, but I've also got, his poem book that he's given out, and he honestly has not really displayed it to a lot of people. Okay.
That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
So that was quite some time ago, and I'm just checking the date quickly, and it seems like that was published in 2017, which was a brave move by him, I think, at that point in time, challenged by his sister to do it, because we felt that just as much as we shared now Barbara's story, that he has his own. So, Dr. Wynand Louw, I want to ask you to read to us, and while he's reading, think about the questions that you would like to ask Dr. Barbara. And so at the end of the day, also, I want to say, if you want to give a gift to somebody, the book is also a perfect way in giving a gift of caring, a gift. Some people bought 2 or 3 or 4. I can't remember. Some just bought once, and they said they're going to share it once they finished with it. But I think it's going to take them a while to finish it before they can share it. But thank you, Wynand, for sharing your poem that comes from your heart, that Dr. Barbara has included in her book, one of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At first, I started writing very much just as a way to almost get thoughts that were just mulling about in my head onto paper so I can see them and process and move on. But over time, I learned that my writing gave voice to a lot of what other people thought and what they felt without me actually realizing it in that moment. So I think this is one of those poems. I really can't remember when I wrote it. Quite persecution. I am not out to break your worldview or tell you that you are wrong. I am not out to prove a point other than to live beyond what you thought to be possible. And if through me, living in love, you may learn, may you be blessed all the same. I am not possessed, and my life isn't difficult to punish me for my sin. I am different from you, and life is difficult. Period. You have faced battles I may never have survived, but my battles may have ground your soul to dust. We'll never know. Instead of judgment, instead of pretense, would it not be wise to listen in love and abide in silence if you cannot? I'm not asking for your approval. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm asking for decency and respect for what is private. And if you could find it within yourself to love, regardless, then we may continue to be friends yet. I'm really honored that you wanted to include my words in your books.
I believe the honor is all mine. I'm so grateful that these two young people grew up in their own space, in their own personality. And, as I look back over the years, to have been so fortunate to walk alongside each other. Because at the end of the day, when they walk into my kitchen and the times that I see them, I'm just mom. They still open the fridge to say, what's to eat? And I trust and pray that will be always our most important relationship.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara. Is there anybody that asks questions or wants to ask Dr. Barbara or Dr. Wynand or Leonie any questions?
Okay,
I can maybe just say, Barbara, I can't wait to read your book. I can't wait to get to know you and read your story and yours, Wynand and Wynand. I'm sure you all feature in the book in some sort of way. And I'm so incredibly glad you wrote this. I think it does make bonsai more accessible to lay people, or just as a casual engagement. So I really can't wait to put my hands on the book and I will read it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carol. So what I did with this book, can I say in Afrikaans, hierdie is nie 'n trane trekker nie. Dis net, it's a book out of my heart. It's different from the 9 other books that I wrote in the sense of it's not academically founded, that I can tell you for each statement I've got a reference and point of departure and things like that. But I embraced the metaphor of bonsai. I know that there's some people that's very spiritual, they don't like bonsais, but I'm not writing for them. I'm writing for us. I'm writing for normal people like us. So the bonsai tree for me is a wonderful metaphor because those little trees that grow in pots are resilient and they want to grow. There's a few that's standing outside that Wynand have to prune them and cut them back like every 2 weeks. Daai vye bome, né? And they reflect, for me, my experiences. I didn't go into the book and say this happened to me and that happened to me and those were the garage by days and you have to use ginger and cinnamon and I don't know what else. No, nonsense. But I went and I said, okay, where does bonsai come from? And that was a journey on its own because as many people that's involved in the art, there's so many stories, so many parts of history. So I just took it as part of my story. And the book is divided then in 4 parts. The first part is about rooting, establishing your roots. And I hope that that part would give honor to each one of our personal histories, to identify what keeps us stable in turbulent times. The second part is about pruning, because in the art of bonsai, pruning is actually very important to give shape to whatever tree. But you can't go and take a tree like a piece of wire and decide, I'm going to make you look like this, because there's so many dynamics. It's nature, it's the roots, it's the pot, it's the soil. And like we used to have a husky, and Lady decided that she can do a better job at bonsai than Wynand. So the moment his study chair creaked, she would go and do her gardening and make all these undone. And I think that's part of the pruning and the adapting. And that's often when life hits us. You know, many of the clients that I work with had strokes or battle with cancer, personality disorders, or trauma, really trauma. And the bad thing is that in our community, people can be very judgmental. You know, it sounds very spiritual, but at the bottom line, it's judgmental in the sense of what sin is going on in your life for this very bad thing to happen. So in the pruning part of my healing process, I got so overwhelmed with people telling me, I know exactly how you feel. Then I don't even know the person. I don't know how I feel. So how on earth can they know how I feel? And I just sat sobbing with Wynand and Leonie and said, I don't have words. I am without words. I will have to find a way to put a voice to what's going on. And that brought me to the reshaping part, the very special part where there's purpose and joy in trying again. The whole thing of encouragement, appreciate encouragement from the wonderful people. Like, I believe that I've got the most supportive and encouraging medical team that walked the road with me. I don't know, Wynand, you sat through all those sessions and I can't remember half the things they said, but what I do remember is the primary caretaker, and I'm not going to go in the detail. The first time I asked him, what am I now supposed to do? And he said, keep on doing what you do best. Keep on working. And that was the best advice because he spoke to my personality, to my heart. Just like you have to honor each little bonsai tree, honor the small steps because it's meaningful steps. The small growth that you see in those little trees are very, very important because at the end of the day, the flourishing part is the part of bonsai trees that we can never forget. That tree, just like a person, if you talk nicely to a plant, it grows beautifully. And I believe that. But we don't talk to each other always that nicely. So let's encourage each other and reflect on how our experience can inspire other people.
Is there anybody with questions now or
Yes.
no one? Oh, okay, Tanya.
Tanya.
It's not a question, it's only a reflection. I appreciate and I love bonsais to look at them. So I'm looking forward to all those sketches in the book. Um, I could identify with the husky though, because for us it was just we said, okay, the husky is 1 year old now. There's nothing of my garden left, but we had to choose the husky or the garden.
Yes.
So I had to move all my plants wherever the husky is not. And if I had bonsais, obviously it would be in the house. But yeah, bonsais are always something that I wanted to attempt, but I never did. But I do have, I look forward to this book because it comes from a depth of deep reflection um, from your life. And I'm so happy that you did this, Doc. This is very nice. Thank you. I'm looking forward.
Thank you, Tanya, for sharing. Anything you want to still add, Leonie?
Yes, please. On that point, I think that was a wonderful introduction to my question. Has your understanding of your own story changed through the process of writing this book?
Leonie, to be honest, I think I changed. The interviewer this morning asked me the very same question. So if I can give you the same answer, I changed. You know, I've been the CEO for Intertrauma Nexus for over 25 years, which means the buck stops with me. I have to be in charge. We've done crisis counseling, trauma intervention, and training for 25 years in different forms. And at the end of the day, the responsibility, the legal liability, and all those things was in my hands and with Wynand as the chairperson. And it was hard at times, but there's nobody that tells you when you are in the management seat, oh shame, take a break. And dealing with medical trauma twice forced me to say, you know, I'm not in control. I can't be in control. God is in control. And to work through the trauma, like this little bonsai tree that must want to grow, I had to decide, do I want to grow? And since this is a special, intimate group, I want to acknowledge that at times I thought it's easy to die. You just stop living, you're dead. But to live, to pick yourself up, that was difficult because you pick yourself up in the sense of getting your head off a pillow every morning and putting your feet on the ground. That's the challenge for the day. And that's the best thing I could do. I got dressed up for work every day. I didn't spend a day in my pajamas. Even when I felt sorry for myself, I got dressed, which was another thing that was like the wires you put around the bonsai tree branch. This is the shape we're going to be in. So I had to be in control of the things I could be in control of, like my attitude, like getting up, like taking responsibility for what I eat. And on the eating part, I'm going to say something now because Christo is going to laugh at me for that one. And the other part is giving control over to God completely, knowing, you know, I don't know what this day is going to hold, but God is in control. He never left us destitute. And feeling out of control is not a sin. I wrote a part in one of the pre-sections where I said our emotions are never a sin. Jesus had emotions. So how did this thing change me? It changed on the inside. Christy, what I'm saying about the eating is something we discussed one day. I decided I'm not going to eat anything I don't want to eat. And you know, I don't eat anything I don't want to eat. So I'm not going into the coffee shop anymore and to eat just something because it's sociable. If I don't want to eat, I don't want to eat. I want to enjoy your company, Leonie.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, anybody else got it before I give Leonie a chance again? Because She's a lecturer. She can ask many questions. It looks like Krista will just lean forward. Maybe he wants to ask a question.
I think from my personal experience in life and something that I've learned, especially the last 2 years of my life, I think the two things, and also what I can definitely sense from Dr. Barbara, on the one side is that from the experiences and the huskies hitting us and shaping us in life or helping us to shape, it is trying to listen and not to respond on that, but to understand the story. And with that in mind, something that I've learned is to find God in the story. Where is God in this story or in this event playing out? Now, I think it is Dr. Carroll, something that I've tried. I did try that bonsai, but unfortunately mine died. So, but then later on, I bought myself that time in Karen a baobab, which was something apparently new to the scenery. But yes, after today, you guys really give me hope to try it again because it's something that I've always loved, but never had the, can I say, the faith to take the risk on of actually taking responsibility, looking after it. But after today again, and yes, I am looking forward to this book. Dr. Barbara knows our story, and she really helped and healed us through God and His grace on this road to trauma. And yeah, looking back, still not easy, but it's getting easier. Definitely shaping us. Oh, yes, 100% sure. And thanks again also for this today. It's really, really, like Dr. Barbara said, this is a special group. I don't know you all, but I believe your story is very unique.
Wynand, if I may say, and I didn't write this in the book or the previous one, is that the book started with a previous book. Leonie, I think you've got it on your desk, Wholeness Through Wonder. I wrote that book because I've got a pet hate, like a bee in my bonnet, about sending everybody for therapy. I do believe, and I think that's the same that comes out in Carol's research, if I remember correctly. Carol, you said you used narrative therapy, and everything is not therapy, but everything has got therapeutic value. And I believe that in working with nature, in working with creative stuff like Liam that wrote the foreword, he's an artist. He's absolutely an artist, and he works on a different level than I usually functions. And when I wrote the book, Wholeness Through Wonder, with encouraging people to utilize art as a therapeutic part of life, I realized that putting bonsai in there is the space is too little. And so the foundation for the book is the therapeutic value of life, the therapeutic value of being together, that healing thing that we do together, the healing thing that we bring into each other's lives, the healing thing that when, you sent me a kind message, Tanya, which I absolutely appreciate. Wynand, when you send all the smiley faces late at night, I appreciate that because that is the therapeutic things we do for each other without going to sit with a label that there is something wrong with me. We can encourage the people closest to us just to become well by loving them, by living with them. And a day without something beautiful is a little bit of a waste.
Can I comment on that, Barbara, please?
Yes, please.
I'd love to read the book, as you don't have to talk. And
Yes.
like you said, Barbara, not everything is therapy, and talking is not necessarily therapy. And what I found is just by being with my trees, and I'm talking from a very personal point of view now, I don't even think the words in my head, but I find healing and comfort and peace in that. And I think that is a common theme that we all find.
Thank you so much, Wynand. I think that is one of the most important points I want to make, because there's too many people that's walking around hurting because they don't want to see themselves as labeled or broken or somebody with a condition. And they've got this illness narrative. They are defined in medical terms. And the problem there, and forgive me if I sound harsh, but they dehumanized. They become the diagnosis. They're not human anymore, and they are treated as though they are labeled. That, like I said, somebody with your condition or people like you. And there's nothing personal anymore. There's no personal touch anymore. There's no empathy in dehumanizing people with a medical diagnosis. And yes, this thing is outside the biomedical sphere because it's from my heart. It's from my experience.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara. I think that, thinking back, there's a lot of parallels as I was reading through the material, going through the stuff, doing all the stuff, because the first time I've just read it through for reading, and made me think back over my corporate days and all the challenges and heartache and heartbreak. And when retrenchments were announced, then all of a sudden people withdraw. They don't want to talk to you because it's like the retrenchment is a sickness. So it's not just in a medical space that I think it is relevant. I think it's much wider than that, because that in itself is trauma too. And people are uncertain where to from there. Where am I going? Losing loved ones, losing a business that you've built on for many years. And I think that beyond the space of just medical trauma, and I think for a lot of people, the biggest battles they've got in South Africa at the moment is to just find a job so that they can make a living. And I think through that's their heartache, that's their battle. And the book will, even in that space, bring hope, bring comfort, bring time to reflect, and bring time to think. And what Carol has said, I mean, when I stand in front of that tree and you look at that tree and you look at, how do I shape you? What do I take away? What do I leave? There's no other noise. There's no drama. There's no other stuff and loudness of our society where, everything must be blasted at top volume. It's just that quietness, that space to be able to think, to just look and to think and to sit down for a while and look at it from different angles. You don't just go in there with a pair of scissors and cut branches off, because what are you shaping? What are you forming? It is really a well thought through process, looking and thinking. If you make a mistake, tree will recover. It's just going to take a while, maybe. Anybody else that wants to still ask a question or contribute something? I have added the links to the order form, the catalogs of the other books on the chat. And so, yeah, you can also subscribe to Dr. Brava's bulletin.
Wynand, there's one last thought I want to leave with everybody as I look at you. Lorna is working hard in her community.
Yes.
Christo is working hard in his community and with his studies. And Henk has got a lot of faith and challenges on his side, going to another country and making a living. Tanya is in a place where she has to commute endlessly, and Leonie with that PhD, and Wynand yours. I want to say it's okay to have seasons in your life. And I hope I portrayed that message in my book. Seasons are not the end of the road. It's okay to become tired. It's okay to rest. It's just a season. And one season will be followed by the next season, whether you are ready or not. So enjoy all the seasons that's in your life at whatever stage.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara. You still have any questions, Leonie?
Yes.
Okay.
If there was one takeaway that you could guarantee every single person reading the book takes away, just one, what would it be?
Leonie, that's very easy. The sun will shine tomorrow. That's my takeaway. The sun will shine tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Barbara. Atanya suggested don't just buy one of them, buy a couple so that you can give them as gifts.
Hank, you can get the book as an ebook on your favorite platform. For you, that's going to be cheaper. The ebook is an option.
It's available on Books to Read. I've included the link for
Yes.
that too. And there's different platforms on Books to Read that you can choose from if you want to download the ebook.
Okay. Does that mean that we're done, Wynand?
Yes, thank you very much, everybody that came and attended. And may the Lord bless you. May you find peace in this period ahead. I know Easter is late this year, it seems, but it works on a different calendar how that is calculated. Enjoy that time with your family, and yes, so may the Lord keep you, may the Lord protect you, and be with you.
Thank you very much. Just want to let everybody know it definitely is available in e-version. Thank you, Dr. Barbara, for making it available and thinking of those of us who live in small little houses here in Scotland. So I've downloaded it and it's
Already?
actually, yes, I've read why you wrote the book, who's the book for, and I started reading the intro. I was very curious, to find a book that is written from the heart with all these years of experience is that intrigued me. I'm not a gardener per se. My wife decided she wanted to buy a jasmine, a favorite plant, but unfortunately it didn't survive the winter. So I don't think bonsais will survive. But yeah, I've always been intrigued by these little trees that look like the big ones, and that are even having fruit on that is so small. And but yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the best, the rest of it. I mean, definitely, I would start with the roots. After almost 2 years in Scotland, I still feel as if I need to dig deep and get the roots in. It's quite something to uproot yourself and emigrate and starting a new career in community care and all the things. But thank you so much for your time and thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye.